Hey, Book Besties. Thanks for picking up our FaceTime call. I'm Jazzy.
And I'm Lexi, and today we are talking about Miranda Grant. That has been all over TikTok. I'm sure you've seen it. Jazzy, I know that you've seen it at this point.
Yes.
Oh my gosh,
100%.
what a doozy. I mean, if there is some type of drama, Book Talk is gonna find it, and they have snuffed this one out. Or not snuffed, sniffed it out. So.
Yeah, but I think rightfully so.
Yeah, I mean, I do feel like I'm one of those people that thinks that sometimes cancel culture goes a little too far, but
hmm
sometimes it's necessary with things that are not okay. So, um, I don't know. This one's a tough one to talk about because I stopped reading dark romance as heavily as I used to because I started having some issues with how people were trying their hardest to be at the darkest book, and it felt like something got lost in translation. But I know that you like the dark romance genre, so I feel like you're gonna have a unique perspective. So what are your thoughts?
All right. So first of all, trigger warning for this episode because it does talk
Yes.
about a lot of non-con. So if that's something that you're not comfortable with, we completely understand. Um, I am of the stance of please take the trigger warning seriously. Your mental
Yes.
health is very important. Um, so yes, so if you don't know what we're talking about, or if you haven't seen it come across your newsfeed, we are talking about um, Keep Her Under by Miranda Grant. And this book is about a physician and his coma patient. And when we say coma, it's like medically a medical coma. She's in the hospital, laying on a bed, and she is unconscious. Um, so yes, and I think Lexi, you have the description. Do you want to read it to us before we get started on our opinions?
Yes. So basically, I hope everyone can see that I am actually looking on my computer right now because there is so much that I have pulled up on this because I just like deep dived. So first of all, the poster is written as she's lying in a coma in the ICU, her legs bare, her ready to be fucked. Okay. And so that's like the first thing that you see when it's being marketed, right? So there is nothing
Yeah.
stating that there's consent for the non-consent. There's nothing. And then I think the blurb is, well, actually, first, the first thing I want to do is I want to read Miranda's bio because that has been something that has been everywhere. So here's her Goodreads bio. Are you ready for this, Jazzy?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, Miranda Grant is not a serial killer. As an author of fantasy and paranormal romance, she just needs to know some things, like how many dead babies can fit in a bathtub, 34 or 52.5 if blended, what human meat tastes like, dry pork, how to get away with murder. It's really hard to tell the difference between a drowning accident and a drowning murder, just saying. This non-serial killer lady lives with her partner who often drags her outside claiming sunlight is necessary and social interactions are a good thing. Given her questionable search history, she goes along with it, thinking it'll be better to have less aloof serial killer vibes should the police ever knock on her door. So thoughts on that bio first before I pull this blurb.
So I just want to point out that that sounds like a horror author, which I think this is like our main point of like this FaceTime with you all.
Yes.
We think that this should have been marketed as horror or splatterpunk or basically not dark romance because once Lexi finds a summary for us, I think you'll find that it's lacking romance.
Yes. So on that, here's the blurb. It starts out with fuck, you're going to make me lose my license. When the most beautiful angel is wheeled into my hospital, I become obsessed with the need to have her. It's all I can think about as she nearly dies on our operating table. Having just wrapped her car around a tree, she might never walk again due to her injuries. She might not even survive, but when she falls into a coma, I know the fates are looking out for me. They made it so she cannot run. They want me to fuck her senseless. They want me to risk it all. And for her, I damn well might. Because her eyes spoke to me in that brief moment they met mine, before they rolled back in her head. Do with me what you will, rats later. Do with me what you will. All right, so let's dissect this, right? So the first line, fuck, you're gonna make me lose my license. That to me, as a reader and also someone with a heavy medical background, implies something like morally wrong and ethically wrong.
Yeah, for sure
Um,
ethicals, like, or, just, oof.
yeah, I guess you can't say morally because when you think about it, like that's such like a hard thing to determine because it changes and you don't know the exact scenario. And then we find out in like the very next line is that this is not something like he has not met her before she wrapped her car around a tree. That's what it implies. I mean, we don't know that it could
Hmm.
be like, whatever. So that's the next thing that stands out to me. And she falls into a coma.
Yeah, so also disclaimer, we have not read this book and we don't plan to. So this is all
It's not
just
even
going based
out.
off of what we've seen. And these are all things that ARC readers have come out with. So this basically came about because her ARC readers basically did not like this book, or I shouldn't say like all of them, but this is how this came to be, which often happens with these controversies on Book Talk. When the ARC readers get hold of things and they spread the word, it spreads like wildfire. But again, I think in this case, rightfully so. Um, so yeah.
Yeah,
Ugh.
I think what's going to be important about this episode, so to say, is that if there's any authors out there that are listening, we're giving you the opportunity to look at what marketing looks like on a reader. And that's why I want to dissect this blurb. So you know that when you're writing a blurb for your book, like, hey, this is how it can be perceived. And I think that's something that we need to ask ourselves when we put something out there. You can have the best intentions, but unfortunately, um, it's all about perception. And this is how we're perceiving just this blurb alone. Like the last two lines, I'm sorry, it's because her eyes spoke to me. So there is nothing voiced. And I'm
Hmm.
sorry, but consent cannot be interpreted. It has to be a vocal thing, as defined.
And also with like this blurb about her and saying like do what you want to me, because of all this controversy that's come out, the author did basically kind of spoil the book to kind of give an explanation of, you know, the storyline and the dark romance aspect of it. And I say dark like romance because again, I don't think that there's any romance in this based off of what the author has said. I did see that she posted that this woman was suicidal and that that's the reason why she said do what you want to me. And to me, again, that doesn't say like that's not consent to for whatever he's going to be doing to her sexually. Like that to me is just still like no.
Yeah.
What do you think, Lexi?
Well, again, like she doesn't even say this. This is him interpreting from her eyes looking at him. Do you know how many
Oh
times I've
God.
made eye contact with people in public, and what's really going on in my head is, please don't look at me, please don't look at me, please don't look at me. Like, I just, I, I don't like interpretation of consent. That is something that really bothers me, just because
Mm-hmm.
body language and facial expressions differ from so many people. Um,
Yeah.
so I, I like I think it's hard because right now it is a also turning into a witch hunt on Book Talk. People are dissecting everything. They're looking at her past books, they're looking at everything. And unfortunately, she didn't do herself any favors because on a Facebook group, she was involved with some other authors making fun of people for having an issue with this.
Yes, let's talk about this because I think that what ended up happening here was absolutely disgusting, and I'm actually very disgusted by it. So if you guys
Mm-hmm.
don't know, what Lexi's talking about is she was basically defending herself, or in a Facebook group, there was an interaction between a reader who basically expressed that they did not like this sort of book. They did not like the non-consensual part of it,
Yep.
and Miranda Grant, the author, and other authors proceeded to basically bully this woman, this reader. And they all got together and were like, who wants to basically write depictions of grape? with her in mind, inspired by this reader. And I think that's absolutely insane. Like that's the response that you're going to take on this. Um, so I also think like that right there, I'm like, okay, that's really all I need to know about you. And it's disappointing, number one, but also the other authors that were involved in this conversation, even more disappointing. And all of these things are posted online. So this is not anything that like we had to dig up. Like it's right there if you search for it. But I just think that that take or that way to defend yourself is absolutely disgusting. So
Mm.
yeah, I don't really think she cares to like hear or like, try to take in what readers are saying or thinking or feeling. I just, again, I don't think that this should have been marketed as a dark romance because even with dark romance, like there is a romance aspect to it. Like a lot of the books have consensual non-consent. So there is consent about not consenting. Two people come to an agreement and they explore their sexuality that way, and that's all fine and great. But like this between a person who's in a coma, who the author has said is suicidal and did not verbally tell the physician, like, do what you want to me, he just interpreted it that way. Ugh, I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, just to pause too, there's two creators that I love that have been exploring this topic, and I'm gonna put them right here. Hopefully, I can edit this perfectly. One is the Brisk Book Blog, and the other one is Leah Reads. And I think they've done a really good job on exploring this topic and talking about it. So I think you guys should go check them out. Um, I mean, I feel bad because I feel like I have a little bit of a bias in this because I am in the medical field and I do hold physician or even provider responsibility towards patients. And I know that
Hmm.
we've all seen the whole psychiatrist story time on TikTok. There's
Don't get me
boundaries.
started on that. Don't get me started on that one.
Like,
Don't get me started on
I've
that
been obsessed with
one.
that one. It's been really bad.
Oh my God.
Um, but my husband and I actually had a conversation about this in the car. And I think, unfortunately, in every job field, there's always someone that wants to be the darkest person. And in the medical field, there's always that one ENT nurse, doctor, whatever, that wants to tell the darkest stories, right? They just want to be known for it. There's always a military person that tells the darkest stuff and they
Mm,
think it's cool, but when you tell these things without an one accurate trigger warning list or some kind of a warning and without proper marketing, if you're selling something, unfortunately you're doing it irresponsibly, right? Not everyone signs up for these things, not everyone is equipped for these things, and I do believe there is a responsibility to own your own triggers and also,
yeah.
address that on yourself. But there's why can't we also help people and tell the truth about what we're talking about and market it appropriately? And that's what I think the basis of all of this is. I'm not going
Yeah.
to dive into what everyone is saying, like, oh, like all this other stuff she writes is so disgusting. Like, hey, look, there's opinions on everything. I just think you have a responsibility to one, write about it appropriately, market it appropriately, and address concerns, and going into a Facebook group to talk about someone and dedicate a great scene about them, I think it's just horrendous.
It yeah, it's absolutely insane to me that that's the way that you would respond. But I 100% agree with you where if you're going to put out a dark story, um, you're responsible for basically letting people know what it's about, um, or letting people know like if you go into this blind, this is basically expect this. We've seen this with a lot of dark romance authors and a lot of authors who write pitch black romance or pitch
Mm-hmm.
black stories, where they will tell you, like, this is not a romance. This is an erotic story with dark themes. This is what you can expect. And you can see, like, you've seen it on TikTok. Like, there's 3 pages of stop here if you don't want this. I'm serious. Please stop here. And, like,
Sign here.
I think, yes, Brit's books, which I love her on TikTok. She recently posted, like, she posted a, basically her reading this book and opening it up, and like the author had like a place where you would sign it
Yep.
because she was saying like, I'm telling you, this book is, if this book is, with these triggers, if it's not for you, please don't proceed. So I think that authors definitely have the responsibility of like letting people know the triggers, because I think nowadays like the world is just, in shambles. um and trigger warnings and mental health are very important. But again, I think you should just market your book the way that it's meant to be marketed. I don't think that this was a romance. I stand by that. It gives the dark romance readers a bad rep because dark
Yeah.
romance readers are always the first ones to get thrown under the bus. Like, oh, they're, those stories again. Like, you guys just like rape fantasies and things like that. And no, that's not it. I think that's a very unfair stance. I think that this should have been marketed as horror, and I don't know why the author is so against that. Like, there is absolutely no romance that I see, can sniff, can spot from a mile away. And this is coming from someone who absolutely loves romance books. So, yeah, I just don't understand why we couldn't have just marketed as a horror author. Because even her bio, like I said, it sounds like a horror author. And you know what? Maybe she would have marketed as horror. It would have been really successful, or there wouldn't have been this controversy because she basically put the right labels on it. So,
Yeah, and I mean, unfortunately, even if after the situation clears in the book and there's a romance that blooms from it, it's going to be labeled as Stockholm syndrome because, like,
yeah,
or
that's
severe trauma.
That's also, no, 100%. That's also like a very popular take with a lot of dark romance books. Like, oh, you guys just like grape and Stockholm syndrome. So, yeah, unfortunately, I think that this is something that's going to follow her for a while. But she
Oh,
doesn't seem to
yeah.
care. So,
Yeah, I mean, her attitude towards it is less than ideal. And actually, I just took a peek on her website to look at the trigger warnings just to see. She's removed the whole page and has a message that states, run little onion before the monsters get you. You shouldn't be here, 404. So she's not taking it seriously at all.
hmm
And like you said, unfortunately, that's just part of it. And I hate that at the core of it, the dark romance community continues to suffer because
yeah.
I mean, there's some beautiful dark romance books out there that are just, I mean, really, they're centered on love and survival, and they're done with
hmm
such care that, I mean, people miss out because they're so scared of that dark romance label. But
hmm
it's not those authors' fault, right? It's these types of authors.
Yeah. It it's very unfortunate, but again, we don't know that the author really cares too much about this controversy. And also, it's the thing with every controversy is that it always will deter a bunch of people, but it will also make a lot of people be like, oh, well, I'm gonna look at this out of curiosity. Um, that's why they say like no publicity is bad publicity, or bad publicity is still publicity. So I mean, if this is a book for you, great. We again just think that there should have been responsibility taken with putting this out there.
100%. And I was gonna ask you, I think it'd be good to direct some people, like whoever's watching, to some good dark romance books. And I know that you're like the queen of dark romance in my eyes. So like, do you have any that you would recommend off the top of your head that are done with care?
Oh, 100%. So if you like this sort of like consensual non-consent, things like that, I would say Rena Kent is a really good one. H.D. Carlton. If you like bully romances, I would say S. Massery, and she writes dark hockey as well. So if you're into dark hockey, then that might be for you. I can go on and on and on, but why don't you guys let us know what you're looking for, and maybe we can drop some recs or help each other out in the comments. If you guys have some really good dark romance authors that maybe people haven't heard about, indies or bonus, let us know.
Yes, please. And authors out there, if you have books of your own that you want to recommend or you want to sound off in the comments on how you feel about the situation, please let us know. I mean, obviously, we're a reader first space, but there's no readers without authors, right? So sound off in the comments, let us know. And until next time, when we give you the little call, we'll catch you later.
Yeah, thanks
Bye.
for joining our FaceTime besties.